Hi everyone, this is Holly from Hot Humble Pie. Do you know I was Googling my channel name the other day and it actually had Christmas after it? So I realized so many of you look forward to my Christmas DIYs. You make it really clear under the comments when I upload. And I thought, you know what, honey? You just need more time to do Christmas DIYs. So I have a surprise for you. This July, I am doing the entire month of Christmas. It's going to be July and Christmas all July, then we're going to ease on into fall. And as always, I hope you enjoy the show. This is a candy cane from the Dollar Tree, and you're just going to start off by removing all of that tinsel garland. And that's what it looks like underneath. But you see all those little spiky plastic things? That's not really going to work for our project today. So I'm going to take my wire cutters and just snip those off along the edge. You don't need to worry about the ones on the inside in the center, just around the edge. Then we're going to take some masking tape. Any size masking tape will work. I'm using the Dollar Tree masking tape, and I'm just going to cover this entire candy cane form. At the very bottom, the way I handled it was just to go vertically and put little pieces that way and then squish them down with my hand so they took the shape of the curve on either end, and this is what it looks like. Now I'm using some polyfill, but you can use cotton or like an old t-shirt, anything just for some padding on the top. You probably actually don't even need anything. I just wanted it to have a little bit of a smoother finish to it, so I use the polyfill. You could also use old pillow stuffing, old foam, packing foam that you get in packages, so definitely use your imagination and have fun. But we're cutting this out the shape of the candy cane, and I'm just going to go ahead and hot glue it all around the edges, pulling gently, because as you know, for those of you that have worked with polyfill, if you pull too tight, you'll tear it. So it's definitely a lot of patience. You just gently kind of tuck it around the edges, but we're all done and it's covering the candy cane now. So I have this material. It's from Hobby Lobby. I actually got it on Amazon, but I found out somebody was selling Hobby Lobby ticking stripe material or fabric on Amazon. So I think they went and bought it and probably marked it up. I probably got ripped off, you guys, because they know it's popular during Christmas. Anyway, I cut it into strips and I went ahead and I wrapped up my candy cane that way because I thought the strips just made it look more like the stripes, I guess, a little bit. And of course, it makes going around the bends a lot easier. So handled the tip of the candy cane exactly the same way that I did with the polyfill. I'm just gently gluing it where I need to so there's no weird lumps and bumps and unevenness. And wherever the strips met, you saw right there, I tucked my glue gun under the seam. I went up every single seam like that on the front and the back with a little bit of hot glue to make sure it doesn't wiggle or come loose down the road. And then I took some different pine picks, just different kinds of pine, and I tied them together with some Dollar Tree twine. I'm going to go ahead and use my white paint from Apple Barrel, frost it up. I'm in the mood to frost my pine up this time, you guys, and I'm going to glue that on top of the candy cane. Hey everyone, here are the other places you can follow me. My Facebook is brand new. I share other things over there, so be sure to check it out and follow me. You can also share your crafts there as well. I'm using some of these berries that I got off of Amazon. The link is down below in my description box if you're interested. And then these little confetti stars, they come with trees, snowflakes, and I think red boots. They are a great substitute in a pinch for those primitive stars. I just paint them with a nutmeg brown from Apple Barrel paint, sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon. I did do the underside as well. And that's it. Look at that. They look awesome. And now I am taking this burlap ribbon that I got from Temu. If anyone's interested, I can go hunt for it and find the link for you, but it has a natural curl to it because it came curled like that. And look how it holds its curl. It has no wire in it either. I just thought that was so cute, so I went ahead and cut 2 pieces off. You can see what I'm doing, and I just hot glued it underneath the pine. And then I decided to go ahead and make this look a little, you could skip this part. This is just my style, but I am doing like a vintage Christmas still, kind of tying it in with last year because I made a bunch of new things. So I just take the cinnamon and I rub it all over, gives it a nice natural kind of stain, and it gives dimension. I like that look, plus it makes it smell really pretty and Christmassy. So I hung a hanger on the back, put a little bit of the cloth over it, but I actually ended up moving this higher up because it wasn't tilting the right way when everything was said and done. And now I'm going to test it, but that's it. I love the way this came out. You'll have to let me know what you think. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I'd love it if you click that button. For this project, I'm using the Trader Joe's cocoa powder container and the small silver lid from a Dollar Tree small little jug that I bought. And I'm using the color Territorial Beige from Apple Barrel Paint to cover this in one coat of paint. Now ideally I would have taken this outside and spray painted it, but it was getting dark, and so I decided to go ahead and work with the acrylic paint on a shiny surface, and I have some tricks along the way to make sure the paint doesn't lift. So before that you saw me painting some leaves that are left over from a floral pick, and now I'm painting the silver lid red. Then I'm going to go ahead and take this and blow dry it, bone dry. That's one of the tricks you have to do with acrylic paint, is before you do a second coat you need to dry it really well. I'll be using the color Khaki, also from Apple Barrel Paint, and I'm just going to be dry brushing it very feather light and very quickly. I'm not going to go over and over and over it. If you go over it or if you touch it with your fingers, you stand the risk of causing the paint to lift off the surface like this. So I haven't sealed this up yet, so you have to be really careful. I'm going to do the same exact thing with the little leaves that I painted. I'm going to go ahead and give them a dry brush. Then I kind of bent the bottom of them just a little bit so that I could glue them on top of my container. I mixed 50% Mod Podge to 50% water in a leftover spray glue container from the Dollar Tree because I knew that it had a good sprayer that wouldn't plug. And I'm just misting this lightly because I really didn't want to worry about the paint lifting off. I knew that my hands would be wet with additional crafting. You know, I'm still painting, I'm still working with this. I didn't want paint to chip off, so I went ahead and gave it a quick mist. And this might be enough. You could stop here if you wanted to. I'm going to definitely seal this up with a varnish outside the next day so that it doesn't come off, but just for now this is fine, and I'm blow drying it to make sure it's bone dry. And then I went away and I had my dinner, came back, and now we can touch it and I don't have to worry about any of the paint chipping off. So now my glue gun is on high heat. I'm going to press it down behind these ears to make a hole. I do end up having to kind of go around in little circles to make the hole bigger than what I had initially done. So this is a pine pick that I get every year from Amazon. They're very reasonably priced. It's down below in my description box if you're interested in the one that I'm using. I cut the wire off and I trimmed the pine needles as close to the stem as I can because I need to fit them through these holes. And even with doing all that, it is still very snug, but you need that. You need them to stay really snug because you want them to stay straight up, so it was perfect. Next, I'm going to paint the bottom part where I took the lid off of with the Territorial Beige. I don't know if you noticed, but I had the lid on and I was holding the craft item with that, so to further protect the paint so I wouldn't chip it off. But now I went ahead and painted the bottom. So I'm using a snowman stencil just for the eyes here because I'm not really good at making perfect little circles, and I'm adding some little eyebrows. If you haven't guessed, we are making a reindeer, you guys. Isn't he cute? He is so cute. We're making a reindeer. I'm giving him a little line at the bottom there for his mouth. And then I'm going to take E6000 to glue his nose on because I definitely want that to stay on. So that's what we did with that. And now I'm just using a craft stick to clean up any of the E6000 that kind of oozed over the seams there. Next, we're taking some raffia. I'm going to tie it in a bow and I'm going to glue that on the top in front of his antlers. Next, I have this really nice burlap ribbon from Temu. It was very reasonably priced. I got tons of it, and it frays really nice. So I thought this would make a perfect little neck scarf for my reindeer. And I'm showing you up close here how I glued it over each other, leaving a little bit overlapped on purpose so I could bend it down like this and glue it so it looks like a scarf on his neck. And then I kind of fray it just a little bit with my fingernails. It's fraying automatically as I'm touching it, but it makes a perfect little scarf for a reindeer. And then I also go around and just glue the sides and the back with a little more hot glue just to secure it so it stays in place. We're using this berry garland, and I cut about 5.5 to 6 inches off, and I just take each strand and wrap it around his antlers. I have these leftover berries from last year's Christmas crafts, and I thought, oh my gosh, those would be so cute in front of his antlers, so I went ahead and added 2 of those. This is some Excelsior grass that I got off of Amazon. I love this stuff. It's like little tiny woven wood or something, like super wafer thin. I just bunched it up, tied it with a bit of Dollar Tree twine, and then I'm gluing it in the back behind his antlers. I will also be gluing a tiny amount of it on the top of his head. I'm gluing some pine pieces in, also scraps left over from last year's crafts. I'm just putting some more Excelsior grass right now. See that? I covered where the pine joins. And then we're gluing some tiny jingle bells, also from the Dollar Tree. In the middle, I glued 3 of them. And then I take a berry and I glue it on the bottom of that as well. I found these gorgeous winter picks at the Dollar Tree last Christmas. They have glitter and sparkle and glitz, and they are perfect as a little tiny accent piece in his antlers just to make him sparkle. I want to save them for a winter craft, so I just stole a branch. I didn't steal very much, but we're going to go ahead and use some white paint to frost up his nose because it's supposed to be cold outside, and his berries. I'm going to put some white dots in his eyes. I'm going to use some more white paint to frost up the pine. I also frost up his little ears, and I take a permanent marker and just kind of edge the ears a little bit to make them stand out. And then we're all done for now, but the next morning I wake up and I think, you know what? He needs some eyelashes. And now we're all done. This is a Dollar Tree sign I found last Christmas, so I wanted to make sure I included it in this video because someone actually asked me, what are you going to do with that? And this season went by so quick. I'm doing it now, so this is what I had planned for it. I'm taking some paint sticks and I'm measuring them. Now you do have to cut the sides, the shorter pieces like this. If you don't, the paint sticks won't work for this frame. They won't fit. I did it the other way and it wasn't working, so I just wanted to give you a heads up. You have to cut just like this and it will work just fine. So I go ahead and I cut my paint sticks, and some of you might remember the craft I made last Christmas where I put a trim on a sign. Here it is, and I showed you how to do the faux, it almost looked like faux metal, aged metal. I just thought this would be absolutely pretty to do something like this. This is a great, fast, easy hack to make, elevate and upgrade your Dollar Tree signs with frames that look like they came from fancy smancy stores. So super easy to do. You just take your glue gun and you make swirly designs. I don't know how else to say it, just swirly designs. You can add dots, you can do pinwheels, whatever you want. I do a little bit of everything just to give it texture and dimension, and it always comes up so pretty. So don't be scared to do this, just go for it. You do need high heat for this so that it sticks to the wood. And once this is all dry, I just take these little tweezers here, or needle nose, and I pull the glue strings off the best I can. I really need some cuticle clippers again. They are such an excellent tool for crafting, but mine broke. I don't have them right now, but I'm going to get some. But they are wonderful for pulling off glue, you know, cutting them off and pulling them off the little hot glue strings. I hate those, but you do have to take them off. And then I'm just painting this like a darker green color from Apple Barrel Paint. I didn't want to do a bright green. I think I did a bright green in the other one, but for this one I wanted it to be a little darker, maybe have almost like a silvery hue to it, because this also is like a wintry kind of picture. I don't know, I just thought that would look pretty. So we're taking some white paint, we're dry brushing over the top, and it brings out all of that beautiful design. You can see it right there. Isn't that awesome? I love this hack. I have done this so many times in my life. I've even used cardboard to do this, to make frames look really nice. I've used spackling to make frames, you know, cardboard look like wood. I've done everything. But for the holidays, I just thought this looks more Christmassy. My all-time next favorite hack to do is to take dry brushing and kind of rub it all over the paper. I do this because the Dollar Tree signs obviously are made out of paper, so they're often shiny like a magazine page, and you can tell it looks cheap. It doesn't look like you got it from a home decor store. And so I go ahead and I just make sure that every part of that paper is covered with paint. So you're kind of, well, I'm dry brushing because I want some streaks so it looks distressed, but I'm also rubbing it with my fingers so that there's some layer, like a veil almost, over every part of that paper, and then it makes it look matte and not shiny, and it looks 100% more expensive. So that's my favorite hack for that. And then we're just gluing this little frame around the edge. Now it is a little bit smaller than the Dollar Tree sign, just a tad, so I do take my saw and just cut the rest of the Dollar Tree sign that's hanging over the edge off. You could use clippers for this, sharp scissors, maybe even a really strong sandpaper to sand it down. However you need to do it, you can trim it off. But look at that, looks nice and neat now, perfect. So I wanted this sign to stand up this time. I didn't want to hang it because it's a little bit too small. I mean, you could hang it. So another great hack for this, to make a faux little stand on the back there that's flexible. That's the key. It has to be flexible because you have to be able to close it and open it. Is just to use some ribbon like I'm doing right here, and you just hot glue it with the ribbon. You're not actually hot gluing the wood piece. Like I didn't hot glue the wood piece down onto the sign. I glued the material on top. I glued the material on the sign, and then I glued the material to the wood, if that makes sense. And now I can open and close it. See? Stands up perfect, and we're all done. Let me know what you think. This is the Dollar Tree big flat plastic tray, and I took it outside, spray painted it with a bit of white paint and primer. And this stencil came from Temu. It was bent, so I'm trying to straighten it out with a little bit of heat. And I'm going to go ahead and use my glue stick trick. I showed this last Christmas. I just put a little bit of the glue stick and I push the stencil down. It helps prevent bleeding. But I will tell you what happened with this particular DIY, because this is only my second time doing this hack, and I learned some more, so I will share that with you. So I am going to blow dry it again, not to kind of, I don't want to melt it, but I want it to soften up and take shape with the bowl, because the big plastic tray from the Dollar Tree has that little bit of a bowl shape, so the stencil was definitely resisting. If you guys have a silk screen stencil, that would definitely be a better choice, but this is what we have, and I really wanted this design, so I went with it. So I went ahead and I stenciled. I used black, green, and red, and just a stencil sponge. That was it. And I just tapped the paint on. Wasn't too careful because the glue is supposed to prevent that. But when I went to lift it off, because I had blow dried so much, I actually caused the paint to, the glue dried too much, so it came off almost like a skin in areas. It peeled off, It even took some of the spray paint off, as I remember. So I was totally disappointed. This hack does work, but I would say not on a spray painted surface that is already on a surface that resists paint sticking to begin with, which is plastic. I didn't sand the plastic ahead of time. Maybe if I had done that, it would have been better. Definitely works on a Dollar Tree sign, and definitely you don't need to blow dry it. I went ahead the first time when I did this, put the glue stick down, stuck my stencil down, and then immediately started stenciling, and it worked like a charm. This one, I let it dry so dry that it actually created too strong of a bond. It was too dry. So when I lifted it up, you know, and this happens with stencils, I think, with just paint. They always tell you to lift it up when the paint's kind of wet, because some of the paint might come up with it, and it's true with the glue stick, so don't do what I did. So I finished it off with marker where I needed to. Then I went ahead and added some antique wax around the edge there, and my final step was to take some white paint and dry brush this all over the edge and the top. And then I noticed right there to the left that the little tail of the sleigh was black, but I was so exhausted. I had already spent about 6 hours on this because I really, really like this. I love that stencil right there, the sleigh mail. I think it's so cute. So I thought, you know what, we're just going to do that tomorrow. So I went ahead and glued my ribbon on. That's ribbon from Temu. I got a super good deal. You should definitely check out their craft supplies. So I glued some pine at the top, and then went ahead, took a chalk pen, went over the black there, let it dry, fixed it with the red, and then glued some of the twine down from Walmart with some duct tape on the back, and that was it. And I think this came up so cute. It kind of looks like a wood round. Let me know what you think.
If you enjoyed today's video and had fun, give it a big thumbs up, share the video, like the video, comment. I love you guys. And as always, until the next video, breathe deep, fret not, and do things that make you happy.